Tonight on CTV News at 6, call it a comeback. A familiar face from Edmonton's political past is running for mayor.
17 years out of politics, that's a long time.
Summer has begun for Edmonton students.
I feel great, honestly. This year went by so fast.
And
Evander Canada with a shot. Score!
The Oilers trade a high-profile player.
Drying out after an afternoon thunderstorm passes through the Edmonton area. Could we see more? There are some severe thunderstorm watches and warnings throughout the province. I'll talk about that coming up.
Breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. A former Edmonton Member of Parliament is making his return to politics after 17 years. This time, he's taking a run at the mayor's chair. Rahim Jaffer left federal politics in a cloud of controversies. As CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports, Jaffer's comeback is focused on resilience and pushing for change.
For the last 8 years, this has been Rahim Jaffer's office. Now he's got his eye on a higher one.
It's at 4 o'clock today if you're able to come. All right? Nice to see you.
Chatting with customers at the White Ave restaurant he took over from his parents has been a window into the issues Edmontonians are facing. Small business struggles are a common topic.
Most of them that you talk to along the avenue, even downtown or any part of the city, unfortunately, they're barely surviving. And that's just not what I remember Edmonton to be.
That nostalgia for a successful city he once knew is Jaffer's motivation for seeking its highest political office. There are now 6 candidates who filed nomination papers or intend to. One political analyst says edging out frontrunners like current councillors Tim Cartmel and Andrew Knack is a tall order for Jaffer.
You know, you've got to be in the public eye all the time so that people know who you are. And 17 years out of politics, that's a long time.
Jaffer was certainly well known as a Conservative MP for Strathcona between 1997 and 2008. His scandals also earned him some attention. The time his executive assistant impersonated him on a national radio interview in 2001, or the impaired driving and drug possession charges against him in 2009.
This drug thing has just got carried away. That's the end of his career.
Those charges were eventually downgraded to a careless driving charge he pled guilty to. Jaffer isn't shy about his past.
It's colorful, no doubt, but it's also all out there. I have no skeletons in my closet.
He says he's grown from those mistakes and is eager to show Edmontonians through his platform in the run-up to the September election. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
An Edmonton teacher facing child sexual exploitation charges is believed to have fled the country. Alberta Law Enforcement Response Teams has charged Jimmy Buena with making, accessing, possessing, and transmitting child pornography. Police alleged Buena used Facebook to upload sexual abuse material. Buena taught at St. Oscar Romero Catholic High School in West Edmonton. The Edmonton Catholic School Division says Buena's final day at the school was last Thursday. Police do not believe any student was involved in relation to the charges. Alert is sharing the information in light of his position.
We still have a lot of our investigation to go, and that includes a review of any of the tech that we've received, and that's on our forensic examiners. A big part of the investigation is having them go through that, just so that we have an understanding of what exactly we're dealing with.
Alert believes Buena may now be in the Philippines. Edmonton police have charged a 30-year-old woman in connection to a sexual assault involving a teen. Police are concerned there may be more victims. EPS says earlier this month, someone reported a relationship between a teenager and an adult soccer coach. The teen is getting support through the Zebra Child and Youth Advocacy Center. Vanessa Young has been charged with sexual assault, sexual interference, sexual exploitation, and child luring. The City of Edmonton is trying a different tack when it comes to improving safety around schools and playgrounds. It's pulling photo radar from those areas for good. As CTV's Amanda Anderson reports, the city wants to focus on permanent solutions.
A trip to the playground for Celia Hatherley means crossing this busy section of 118 Avenue.
It's always the stressful part of the walk, because no matter how careful you are, the worry is always they're going to run away from you, and the cars are very fast there.
Your speed as a driver is your responsibility, and we're seeing the absolutely horrific impacts of that through the number of fatalities.
10 people have died on Edmonton roads so far this year.
We know that speeding's up, crashes are clearly up, but to be clear, those are happening in spaces outside of playgrounds.
The city says playground and school zones have high speed compliance and low crash volumes. Starting July 1st, photo radar trucks will be a thing of the past in these zones.
In most of them, we're looking at only 1 violation per hour. So that application of resources is not really getting us the best bang for our buck, given how safety's improved so much in these spaces with our investments over the years.
Photo radar trucks only target speeders and do not address other safety concerns that arise. That's why the city will instead focus on improving crosswalks, signage, and installing traffic calming measures.
Speed humps can actually reduce speeds up to 13 kilometers per hour. We've also seen traffic volume reductions of up to 27%. Curb extensions, like the ones that you see in this area here, reduce speeds up to 8 kilometers per hour.
This section of 118 Avenue outside Highland School is one of 2 selected for improvements this fall.
One will test reducing speed limits on arterial roads during school hours, using flashing beacons and bold pavement markings to signal to drivers that they're entering a school area.
As a parent, you take all the precautions you can, but there's always that worry that something will go wrong, and anything that the city can do to make our environment safer is always appreciated.
The other school hasn't been revealed yet, but will have measures installed to block illegal parking and stopping. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving is once again driving home the effects of impaired driving. MAD's Crashed Car campaign is back for the summer. It displays a wrecked car on the side of the road at Blackjack's Roadhouse in Nisku. MAD hopes it serves as a reminder of the dangers of getting behind the wheel while impaired.
Don't drive impaired. There are so many other options out on the road nowadays that we don't need to get behind the wheel after we've been drinking or doing any drugs.
MAD says 4 people are killed every day and 190 people are injured in impaired driving collisions across Canada. The crashed car will move around the city until the campaign ends in September. 3 people were taken to hospital this morning after a car crashed into a building in West Edmonton. Police and paramedics were called to 163rd Street and 95th Ave around 8:45 this morning. A green hatchback slammed into a pillar outside Westgate Plaza. Police say there were 5 people inside the car, including 3 kids. All 3 were taken to hospital as a precaution. It is not known what caused the crash. Edmonton police have upgraded assault charges to second-degree murder after a man died following an attack last week. Police say last Thursday, officers responded to an assault near 95th Street and 106th Avenue. They found a man injured. He's been identified as 59-year-old Robert Gladue. On Sunday, he died from his injuries. Police say Gladue and the accused knew each other. After months of studying and weeks of finals, schools across the Edmonton area are out for the summer. And buildings like McNally High School are going to be a lot quieter over the next 2 months. Our cameras visited another Edmonton area school earlier today to see how end-of-the-year celebrations were going. CTV's Connor Hogg reports.
I'm going to grade 3.
And were you excited for school?
Yeah.
It's been 1 school year since our cameras first visited Joseph M. Demko School in St. Albert. In that time, early excitement has given way to summer strategizing.
I'm getting happiness and excitement for summer.
I feel great, honestly. This year went by so fast.
I just want to make sure it's clear. You're all students here, right?
Yeah.
I'm not.
No?
A whole summer ahead, as well as the feeling of a weight lifted now that finals are finished.
It feels like I've lost 5 pounds of sweat just doing them.
There's also room for the familiar wistfulness as a period of life filled with memories comes to an end.
There are a lot of memories that I've had in this school for the past 3 years, but it's exciting to be able to go to high school next year.
Teachers aren't immune to those retrospective feelings either.
You don't really realize it until it's literally this last day and kids are leaving and they're saying goodbye. So it really has started to feel real today.
Even when you're out of school, keep in touch with your friends, right? And remember, the teachers, they have their lives too.
Not to say the summer months don't have their appeal.
I mean, the tea times are booked for Friday.
These young scholars will spend the summer a variety of ways. Teachers say they'll still be internalizing the important information they've learned.
Probably going to go camping, but I'll still be thinking about school, still be thinking about math, science, all of that stuff.
I'm sure everyone here will be.
I think they will.
Thinking about math, science?
Equations and calculations can wait, at least until the end of August. In St. Albert, Connor Hogg, CTV News.
The Edmonton Oilers have swung their first major deal of the offseason. Evander Kane is a Vancouver Canuck in exchange for a mid-round draft pick. CTV's Evan Kenny has more on his time in the city and the impact he leaves behind.
Push it, eh? Keep pushing.
The Edmonton Oilers are shipping out power forward Evander Kane to the Vancouver Canucks.
Bottom line, though, he was a good Oiler in his time here.
Tom Gazzola with Edmonton Sports Talk says the move was made to help the Oilers with the salary cap. The 33-year-old winger makes more than $5 million a year.
And the cap space is vital, especially with the contracts that need to be signed. Obviously, Evan Bouchard, you've got Leon Draisaitl getting a nice uptick. You're going to have to sign Connor McDavid.
The hit to the Oilers lineup is also a hit to the community. During Kane's 4 years in Edmonton, he became involved with a number of different groups that included taking kids out Christmas shopping, plus work with the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer Society.
Sad, but I can still, it's not too far away.
That's how he became friends with 12-year-old Cecily Eklund. The two would hang out often, even going on a trip together.
We went to Disneyland once.
How cool was Disneyland?
So cool. He took me, and I actually, he got sick on one of the rides, and it was so funny.
Kane came to Edmonton carrying controversy, but is leaving as one of the fans' favorites.
I guess Vancouver will have to be my new favorite.
I'll give him a world of credit for what he did in this community. I mean, he is a hero, and he's looked up to by a lot of Oiler fans.
Kane put out a statement thanking the fans, saying, "Rogers Place was always electric, and I'm proud to have played in front of such a passionate hockey city. My family and I have built some incredible relationships that will last forever." Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
And an Oilers off-ice staple has unique plans for the off-season.
We are called the Superfans because we are the Superfans of each other.
And the Edmonton Oilers.
Let's go.
Don, say everybody, Nippy Scoo here. This is my husband,
Superfan Magoo.
Skylene and Blair Gladue, better known as Superfan Magoo, are contestants on this season of Amazing Race Canada. Eagle-eyed Oilers fans will have noticed the Superfans' absence from earlier rounds of the playoffs. That's when filming for the show took place, and that weighed heavily on Magoo's mind.
If we do this, we're going to be gone for a month regardless, win or lose. And I'm going to miss the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So if we lose in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, that's going to be on me. Superfan Magoo's not there. We lost because he wasn't there.
Like Gladue say, if they win, they'll donate a portion of their money to youth causes. And of course, Superfan Magoo also says he will get season tickets to the Oilers. The Amazing Race Canada airs beginning July 8th on CTV. All right, Corey, that storm this afternoon just blew right through the city.
It did. It brought a lot of rain and even some hail. So nice to see that move off. It left as quickly as it came. Right now, you're flying high with the CTV drone as we look west towards downtown. We can see some breaks in the clouds, still some dark cloud. Still a slight chance we could see some scattered showers, but we are done with the storms most likely. This was from the southwest corner of the city. Greg sent this in. Look at that. The water just flowing down the streets, covered in hail, taking it with it. A lot of areas in the city did see this pea-sized hail. It looks like almost like snow. There was so much of it. So yeah, that was the scene in many areas of the city. Right now, we are sitting at 22. We've seen our temperature jump 4 degrees over the last hour with that storm coming through. It dropped it down, now back up to 22. Wind is light. Not too bad outside. Still some storms to take a look at on the satellite radar map. To the north, Westlock, we are seeing some storms there up towards Slave Lake. East towards Cold Lake. Lloyd seeing some clearing there. The storms that move through the Edmonton area are now approaching Vegreville. And as we look just west of the city, we are seeing some light showers. So not done with the rain. We could still see some showers come through as we progress throughout the supper hour. And then after that, we should start to see things break up a little bit more. We'll start off tomorrow morning at 14 degrees, a slight chance of showers. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, 23 for a high, sun and cloud, a risk of thunderstorms. And as we take a look at your 3-day forecast, we see a repeat of that for Friday. A 40% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, greater risk in the evening, and then settling down a little bit for Saturday.
Corey? Still ahead, passenger rail master plan.
We need other ways to move people between these cities.
Alberta takes a closer look at rail service across the province. The Alberta government is rolling ahead with potential plans for regional passenger rail. The government is hosting virtual sessions to provide an update on the development of its passenger rail master plan. The government's vision is to build a high-speed rail line between Edmonton and Calgary, a line from both downtown Edmonton and Calgary to each airport, rail to Banff and Jasper, and eventually lines to communities such as Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie. They are strongly considering high-speed trains as well. Experts say with Alberta's fast-growing population, the province needs to plan ahead.
You can only build roads so big, you can only get so many vehicles, you can only park so many cars in certain spots. So we need other ways to move people between these cities, and the most efficient way to do it is through passenger trains.
The online session gets underway for people living in the Edmonton area at 7. A province-wide session will be held tomorrow. The Edmonton Airport has become the first Canadian site for a new air traffic control system. The iTech Skynex system calculates flight paths, detects potential conflicts, and updates flight data in real time. NAV Canada says the Edmonton area was chosen since it's in the world's largest non-oceanic flight information region. It says Edmonton has 5 million square kilometers of airspace. NAV Canada describes the new system as going from MapQuest to Google Maps for aviation.
We shift to what's called on-time arrival rather than on-time departure. So you may think when you're on an aircraft, you push back early, you leave early. That sometimes works well if we can accommodate it. But what we need in aviation is predictability. We need people to be able to understand where things are going to be. I say it's a ballet that we have to orchestrate.
NAV Canada says with less time spent on the tarmac, planes will be emitting less carbon into the air. Nearly a week after a deadly rock slide in Banff National Park, hikers are sharing harrowing stories of survival and moments of extraordinary compassion. 2 people were killed, 3 were badly injured, and more than a dozen narrowly escaped while hiking near Bow Glacier Falls. CTV's Mark Villani reports.
The photos from Bow Glacier Falls are breathtaking, and for Cindy MacArthur, June 19th was a picture-perfect day.
We were just all having lunch and kind of gazing at the waterfalls.
She was part of a group from the Slow and Steady Hikers when suddenly a thunderous crack split the air.
And it was just huge. There were pieces like Legos starting to fall.
MacArthur dove to the side of the trail, narrowly escaping a boulder the size of a truck.
Oh my God, I had like a second. I was just like, God save us, please save us.
When the dust cleared, several hikers ran back to help the wounded. MacArthur says total strangers came together to care for the injured, including Uta Heinrichs. The 70-year-old nature lover and former instructor at the University of Alberta was killed in the slide.
And I said, hang in there, we're going to be here. And I just held her hand.
33-year-old Hamza Ben Alal was also tragically killed. His best friend Khaled El Gamel survived, thanks in part to the team of hikers who refused to leave his side.
I said, you're not closing your eyes. And I just made sure I was keeping him completely focused.
But despite their own injuries and fear, the group sprang into action, offering water, calling for help, and staying with the injured until rescue crews arrived.
We all take care of each other. When you spend 6 to 8 hours together on a trail, I often tell people you can't help but be your most authentic self.
Slow and Steady group organizers say it's a testament to how prepared hikers have to be, using GPS satellite beacons and making sure they always have the proper equipment.
We share water. We share snacks, we share blankets, we share layers. That's what hikers do. It's a community and a family, and they all came together last Thursday in a beautiful way.
Parks Canada says the rockfall was a natural, unpredictable event. The trail to Bow Glacier Falls remains closed indefinitely. But in the face of tragedy, what endured was the instinct to help others.
Everybody's a team.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Alberta Health Services has lifted its water quality advisory for Hubbell's Lake. Earlier this month, AHS put out a warning about fecal bacteria in the lake west of Edmonton. It says the water quality has returned to an acceptable level for recreational activities on Allen Beach. AHS is reminding Albertans not to drink or cook with untreated water from lakes or reservoirs at any time. Coming up, skunks.
They're actually very unlikely to spray us. They only do as a last resort.
Why sightings of the stinky creatures may rise. Also,
he just seemed to be going about his day.
A very close encounter in Jasper.
We had the storms move through the Edmonton area, but we've seen a little bit of clearing. Still a chance we could see a few more showers. As far as the next few days, we could see this repeat itself. The risk of thunderstorms tomorrow as well as Friday. I will break that down after commercial.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. To you by Century Casino, 3 great locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Some local athletes are trying their hand at one of North America's fastest growing sports. Pickleball isn't a sanctioned sport for the Special Olympics World Games. However, as CTV's Narman Issa reports, they're hoping that could change in the future.
Beauty. Jonathan and Nicholas are working on their serves. They started playing pickleball 2 years ago.
I love the sport. I love how it's active. Get you out and get you active and energy.
It's all about the energy and all the running you can do.
The Edmonton Pickleball Club hosts a Special Olympics program Tuesday nights. Players learn the basics of the sport, do some drills before playing a friendly game. It's more than just getting active.
Yeah, I like hanging out and making new friends.
The program is run by club volunteers.
I've been doing this for a number of years now, and I've gotten to know some of the kids, and they know me, and, oh, hi, Coach, hi, Steve, and, you know, it's really fun. I just enjoy doing this, and I look forward to it every year.
According to Pickleball Canada, the governing body for the sport, more than 1 million Canadians play pickleball at least once a month.
Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports right now, so there's a lot of people who haven't played it. So I think the volunteers, because they're familiar with the game, they get that opportunity to share their knowledge and get more people interested in the sport.
Pickleball Canada says its membership reached 85,000 by the end of last year. These athletes are happy for the helping hand.
I like the coaches taking one-on-one time to help us get the perfect perform in pickleball and get the right action to get the shot over.
While pickleball isn't an official Special Olympics sport,
I think it's going to be in the Special Olympics pickleball.
I think it is.
Jonathan and Nicholas say they will be ready to compete for gold if and when that day happens. Narman Issa.
Oh, nice.
CTV News Edmonton.
Do you play?
No, I've never tried it.
I tried it the
Looks
other
like
night.
fun.
It is fun. Yeah, it is fun. It's easy to catch on, and you can get a little bit of a sweat as well.
Is it as accessible as people say it is?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I will.
Yeah. We'll get a team going.
Absolutely. So that, that storm this afternoon, we're done with it, but we're not done with the rain.
Right. We could still see a few more showers. As we look through the River Valley Skycam, even off into the distance, we are seeing some dark cloud. And if you like that storm, we could see a few more come tomorrow as well as Friday. Right now, you are looking through the River Valley Skycam, brought to you by Action Furnace. Action Furnace, fixed right or it's free. 22 degrees. We lost a few degrees when that storm came through. We were at 24. We went down to 18. Now we're back at 22. So we've seen a little bit of a recovery. Probably won't make it back up to 24. That was our high for today. Average seasonal high is 22. Last year on this day, 21. Record high, 30. We don't have any 30s in the forecast, but in the extended forecast, we have some days getting closer to it, into the higher 20s, but no 30s at this point. Let's take a look at the 10-day temperature trend as we head in towards the weekend. Temperatures still right around average seasonal high. That's 22. Slightly warmer for Sunday, and then into Monday, Tuesday, into the high 20s. Little bit uncertain as far as the extended 10-day forecast. Looks like we could see a temperature drop, but keeping an eye on that. But as we end off June and welcome in July, looks like we have some temperatures in the high 20s. So some warmth coming our way for those who like the hot days. Areas north of us, severe thunderstorm watch in place. Westlock as well in the areas north of Cold Lake. We are seeing some good storm cells in that area there, and then off to the east as well. There they are, a lot of lightning popping up on the map. The storm cell just north of the city towards Westlock, producing some hail as well. Some reports of that. The storm that moved through our region, now approaching Vegreville. It is continuing to push to the east, but it's losing a lot of its steam as it does so. Not the rain that we saw here in the Edmonton area. It is a lot lighter, but it is continuing to push to the east. Vegreville starting to see that. As we take a look at the future cast, things start to die out as we progress progress throughout the evening. Overnight, fairly cloudy. Could start off with some scattered showers in the morning, and then tomorrow afternoon, evening, a slight chance of thunderstorms. And then as we head into Friday, I'll speed it up a little bit. We see a repeat of that, a better chance Friday afternoon and evening of seeing some thunderstorms. For this evening, we start to see things break and clear right around 9. 14 to start off tomorrow morning. As we get into the afternoon, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms, 23 for a high. Your 5-day forecast for Friday, 22, a better chance of seeing some afternoon and evening thunderstorms on Friday, about a 60% chance in the evening, slight chance Saturday, and then there's our clearing and warming. Monday, 28 degrees, and as I said, Tuesday, 28 as well, risk of thunderstorms with a cool down towards the end of the 10-day forecast. Jeff.
All right, thank you, Corey. With summer upon us, an elusive animal has been spotted more often roaming Edmonton streets. It's skunk season. From April to June, mothers make themselves at home under decks, porches, and sheds to give birth to their litters. Now that they're older, skunk kits are starting to explore the city and surrounding areas. Wild North Animal Rescue says if you come across a skunk or kit, don't panic.
They're actually very unlikely to spray us. They only do as a last resort. They only have so much of that stinky fluid, and they have to replenish it once they use it, so they don't want to use it.
Wild North says city skunks are used to being around people and will show signs when you should back away. This includes stomping their feet, showing their teeth, and doing a handstand. One couple got a uniquely Canadian experience when they ended up face-to-face with a moose on the side of the road in Jasper. Kelly Paxian and her husband were driving down Moline Lake Road on Sunday morning when they noticed the moose on the side of the road. And that's when the moose came right up alongside the car, even going so far as to put his nose inside the open passenger side window. Paxian says she's seen moose on that road before, but never anything quite as up close and personal as this.
He just seemed to be going about his day, and knowing what we know from our previous wildlife encounters, we were just like, we are just going to remain calm as possible and let the animal control the interaction. So we just let it play out.
In retrospect, Paxian says she probably should have closed the car window. Still to come, new defense spending.
The fact that we're working together is going to reduce the threat environment 10 years from now.
How much Canada will have to earmark annually for the biggest increase in defense spending since the Second World War. Plus,
we've lost a little bit of hope and a little bit of our dreams that could have came true.
The pitfalls of Canadian surrogacy laws as the sudden closure of an Alberta agency leaves devastated couples without a baby.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Well, most students are looking forward to summer break. Some parents and teachers are already thinking about next fall. Thousands of Alberta teachers voted in favor of strike action earlier this month. Some say the pay is so poor they're walking away from the job altogether. CTV's Tyler Barrow reports.
School is almost out and the summer awaits students and teachers. For Calgary Board of Education EA Hannah Basaraba, she's excited to come back in September as a full-time teacher.
I'll be able to set up my own classroom, and I'll get to be in a building and learn from experienced teachers.
Much remains in the air for her and her colleagues. The Alberta Teachers Association and the province are still working to hammer out a new collective agreement. In early June, the ATA turned down the latest deal brought forward as over 94% of its members voted in favor of a strike. Working conditions, a main issue. And here's an example of how things have changed. In the 2012-13 academic year, classroom sizes ranged from 19 to 26 students across all grades, according to the ATA. Now,
colleagues of mine who are teaching classes in the 30s and the 40s.
ATA members also weren't happy with the proposed wage increase of 3% a year. Basaraba is set to enter the Calgary Board of Education salary grid with 6 years of university experience. In 2012-13, a teacher at that level earned nearly $65,000 a year. Well, when adjusted for inflation, that wage would now be valued at over $87,000, according to the Bank of Canada. But under the deal that was just rejected, that salary was pegged at $73,000.
teachers have received essentially a 6% raise over the last 12 years. That has been a loss of purchasing power to inflation.
The proposal also included grid harmonization, which could result in an up to 5% wage increase and $400 million in classroom improvements. In response, Finance and President of Treasury Board Nate Horner said the ATA was offered a fair deal made in good faith, and I am disappointed that the ATA members did not accept the mediator's recommendation for a 4-year agreement. The ATA says its members are leaving the profession, and Alex Santangelo is an example. She was a full-time grade 3 teacher from December 2022 to June 2023. She ended up going back to her former job.
I make more money bartending. I can't afford to teach, and the emotional toll that it took on me, the mental toll, the amount of work.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
The Prime Minister is on his way back to Ottawa from the Netherlands after making a major commitment to boost Canada's contribution to NATO. Mark Carney has agreed Canada will almost double military defense spending. CTV's Jeremy Charles has more on the pledge that will mean billions more in spending per year.
Thank you very much. A highly anticipated historic sit-down for the NATO alliance started today with a clear message from Secretary General Mark Rutte.
For too long, one ally, the United States, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible.
That has been Donald Trump's pitch as he drove the charge to increase the alliance's defense spending pledge.
NATO is going to become very strong with us.
Alliance members making official today what was expected, a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP to be reached by 2035.
This is a significant commitment in response to significant threats to our security.
The fact that we are doing this today, the fact that we're united, the fact that the United States is fully behind this, the fact that we're working together is going to reduce the threat environment 10 years from now.
3.5% will have to go to core defense spending, with a requirement to spend another 1.5% on defense-related infrastructure investments. Carney says meeting the 5% commitment would mean earmarking $150 billion a year for defense.
So yes, we'll find gaps. We'll be transparent about that. We'll make up those gaps. So the overall context of the net increase in defense spending is much less than the headline from 2 to 5.
But key to today's new pledge from the alliance, a plan to review progress in 2029, ensuring it still meets the needs of the global security landscape.
Senior government officials tell us they see an opportunity then to address whether the breakdown of 3.5 and 1.5 could be balanced differently, a change they believe could be better for Canada. Jeremy Charles, CTV News, The Hague.
At the NATO summit, Donald Trump said U.S. and Iranian officials will hold talks next week. He also pushed back on a leaked intelligence report suggesting the strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities may have only set the country back by a few months.
Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out.
The UN nuclear watchdog says it expects damage at Iran's underground Fordo facility is very significant. Iran says it will not give up its nuclear program. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran appears to be holding today. Canada's border agency is investigating how dozens of suspected Iranian officials have been allowed into Canada. Canada barred any senior Iranian government officials from entering the country in 2022 when it said the Iranian government engages in terrorism and human rights violations. Canada's border agency says 131 visas have been canceled and it's investigating 115 others. 20 people have been reported inadmissible into Canada for allegedly being an Iranian regime senior official. Some hopeful parents say the sudden closure of an Alberta surrogacy agency has left them emotionally devastated and at a financial loss. Fertility and legal experts say surrogacy in Canada is flawed, adding even more challenges for couples who need help building their families. CTV's Stephanie Thomas reports.
Trying for 12 years to have a baby. They signed up with Alberta-based JA Surrogacy Agency Canada and spent about $20,000 in hopes a surrogate would carry their biological child. But on Friday, they received an email that JA would be closing and all the employees terminated.
Makes us feel stuck. because we kind of lost not only a financial aspect, but we've lost a little bit of hope and a little bit of our dreams that could have came true.
A couple from Ireland told CTV they spent $19,000 with JA Surrogacy to help find a surrogate and cover her expenses. Now they have to start the process all over.
Now we're just completely devastated about the whole thing, and then we're really trying to focus on the future instead of the past, but it's very hard.
JA Surrogacy was founded by Jennifer Allen. She died in 2023. Her husband, Phil Allen, inherited the company, but tells CTV News in a statement it now has more than $150,000 in debt. His goal now is to trace all funds and provide clear answers to every intended parent, surrogate, and service provider affected. He's even gone to the RCMP. Nobody has been charged. The company's now former CEO tells CTV in a statement Allen closed the business without notice or severance, and the company lacked the funds to address debts or offer refunds. One fertility lawyer says it's likely these clients are left without recourse to get their money back.
The key thing is to make sure that the money that's in trust, which is there for the benefit of the surrogate and managing her expenses through the process, that is protected.
Surrogates cannot be paid in Canada under law, but things like hotel stays and transportation can be covered. Agencies are not regulated, and surrogates cannot be compelled to carry a pregnancy as it's not a service or commodity. Fertility advocates say the agency's closure highlights the pitfalls of surrogacy arrangements in Canada.
Even regulation, in my opinion, is not going to save that. Companies go bankrupt, and it is tragic and it is awful when it is so hard for this already incredibly vulnerable community to have to experience that.
Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, a year of uncertainty, how the province is working to help small and medium-sized businesses grow. Plus,
it gives kids a chance to think their own stories out rather than being dictated or told what the story is.
How a local artist is inspiring others through her fairy door trail. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded at 72 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up 55 cents, closing at $64.92 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained $9 on the day. The TSX closed down 152 points. The Dow Jones down 106. Canadian businesses continue to deal with the uncertainty of the trade war with the United States. It's caused a slowing of the economy, and it's impacting entrepreneurs. Now, new funding from the province aims to get things back on track. CTV's Jacqueline Wilson has the details.
It's been a year of uncertainty for Stumpcraft founder Jason Robillard.
We've been having to deal with the chaos as a result of the tariffs.
The Calgary wooden puzzle maker hopes for tariff stability in the months ahead, leading to more economic and job certainty.
We're a luxury product in a sense, and so when disposable income decreases or economic uncertainty manifests, people tend to be a little bit more clingy with their hard-earned dollar.
A new report by Deloitte Canada says the economy has the potential to rebound as businesses gain more clarity on trade issues and adjust to new policies.
That uncertainty has certainly seen businesses pull back in terms of putting investment dollars to work, and we've seen a softening in the labor market, which is having a run-on effect in terms of consumers who are worried about their job security.
Deloitte forecasts a moderate recession during the second and third quarters of the year, but that's far from the worst-case scenario predicted earlier in the year from the trade war.
We believe in a strong, tariff-free relationship with our neighbors to the south. They're our largest trading partner as a province.
The province is working to help small and medium-sized businesses grow and reach international markets, announcing a $2.8 million investment in the Calgary Economic Development's Trade Accelerator program for the next 5 years.
The future for Alberta is bright. We have a premier and a government that are laser focused on removing red tape, removing barriers for businesses, expanding trade relationships internally within Canada and around the world.
Deloitte predicts Canada will return to a growing economy next year, with energy-producing provinces like Alberta leading the gains. Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
Enbridge says a lot needs to happen before it would propose a new pipeline to the West Coast. Premier Danielle Smith expressed confidence one or more private sector pipeline operators will come forward with a plan to ship crude from Alberta to Prince Rupert for export to Asian markets. Today in a statement, Enbridge said it will explore projects provided there's demand. It also says there would have to be provincial and federal legislative change around climate policy, regulatory timelines, and Indigenous participation. The Calgary-based company is Canada's largest shipper of crude oil. A BMX rider from Red Deer has been recognized on the world stage. Molly Simpson took home the win at the UCI BMX World Cup in the women's elite category. The 22-year-old says the win is a dream come true. The UCI BMX Racing World Cup took place in France earlier this month. The next World Cup event is in Argentina in September. An artist from Lacombe is helping bring some fairy magic to the village of Clive. Artist Minuet Lamontague created 9 tiny handcrafted pieces for the village of Clive's fairy door trail. The village of Clive says the fairy doors are hidden across town in unexpected places like tree trunks or storefronts. Lamontague says she hopes her art inspires people's imagination.
It gives kids a chance to think their own stories up rather than being dictated or told what the story is. So for me, I thought it was a great way for kids to actually be able to look at something and they tell me the stories, what's going on.
Those with a keen eye may find hidden elements in the art like constellations or bugs native to Alberta. The Fairy Door Trail is free to visit and will be around all summer. For more information, you can visit lacombetourism.com. Coming up, a masterclass in dance. A lesson in world-class choreography.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV, starting at 7 with E-Talk.
An international dance sensation is hoping to show local dancers some new moves. Dance influencer Giannina gave a masterclass at the Edmonton Dance Factory. The 20-year-old is known for her work on TikTok and from reality TV show Dance Moms. Having more than 4 million followers, Giannina is teaching her choreography to dancers all across the globe.
It's impressive to see how far dance can take people when there's like a competitiveness to it and so much passion and drive throughout the entire world. But it's fulfilling to see that not only like where I'm from, New York, New Jersey, that it's everywhere.
Well, she's just inspiring, and to be able to express how she dances and to show us like what it's like to just be as a group and not to judge and always just to feel like a community. It's really nice to hear that from her.
Giannina held a class in Calgary as well and plans to make more stops across Canada.
Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, 23-4, a high into the afternoon. We could see some scattered thunderstorms. Also a slight chance of showers in the morning. So a little bit unsettled as we go throughout tomorrow. Come Friday, 22, a better chance of seeing some thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. And then we settle down. We warm up by Monday, 28.
Sounds great. Thanks, Corey. And thanks for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit ctvnewsedmonton.ca or watch us on YouTube. That's it.